Hello all, welcome to part 1 of API testing training series. In this session, I am going to explain what exactly is an API. So what exactly is an API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. So to the programming of the application, the developers will be writing the code or programs for developing an application. To interact with that programs, okay, there is an interface created that is called as API. Okay, in order to interact with the programming code that is developed or built by the developers for building the application, if you want to interact such kind of program code, okay, we use APIs. Okay, that's why the name is given as application programming interface, an interface to the programming code, programmed code of the application, okay, which is built for developing the application. Fine. Okay, so there is no proper definition for APIs, guys. Okay, you see in the internet, if you browse what exactly is an API, different websites will provide you different definitions. Okay, there is a reason why no one can give a proper definition for APIs. There is a proper reason, guys. Okay, so by the end of these topics for these APIs, these three topics, by the end of these three topics, you will understand what exactly is an API. Okay, for now, it is an interface to the programming code which is built by the developers for building the application. For now, okay, but it has many definitions, many varieties of understanding it, that you will understand by the end of this topic. Okay, so first, let's start with the layers of the application. Okay, when an application is built, it will have different layers, guys. Okay, let me draw the layers for you. There will be three layers basically. Okay, let's say this is your laptop. Okay, let's assume that this is your laptop. Okay, laptop or your computer that you have at your home. In your laptop, you opened one of the browsers, say Chrome browser. Okay, in your laptop, you have opened one of your browsers, say Chrome browser. In that Chrome browser, you have entered a URL. Okay, in this Chrome browser, you entered a URL. Let's take tutorials ninja URL, tutorials ninja. Okay, some URL you entered here, the browser. The moment you hit this URL, okay, a request will be sent to the server. Okay, so this, let me try it properly. The moment you browse this URL, a request will be sent to where? To the server machine. Okay, server machine will be there somewhere else. Okay, this tutorials ninja application, I'll show you the application for you first. For example, this is a tutorials ninja application, guys. Okay, which is opened in my laptop. Here, when I type tutorialsninja.com/demo in my laptop, I'm getting this application page. I'm able to access the application. But to get this particular application displayed on my browser of my laptop, what happens in the background is a request will be sent to the server. Okay, a request will be sent to the server because this application is not available in my laptop. Okay, when I hit the URL is not getting the, okay, application code. It's not interfacing with application code in my machine. In my laptop, there is no application code regarding this tutorials ninja application. But where is the application code which is developed by the developers for building this tutorialsninja.com? Or if you go to Facebook, guys, do you have the Facebook code in your machine, your laptop? No, right? But when you say facebook.com, what happens? A request will be sent to the server of the Facebook. And in that Facebook server, the Facebook application code will be there, which is written by the developers of the Facebook. Similarly, when you hit tutorialsninja.com/demo in your laptop, a request will be sent to the Tutorials Ninja server, which is somewhere remote, guys. Okay, it's not there. The code is not there in our laptop. The code is there in the remote machine. Let's assume that this is a remote machine. Maybe this machine is in Singapore. Let's assume. Okay, in Singapore, this server machine is there. This is a server machine. Server machine for which application? Server machine for tutorials ninja application. The developers of this tutorials ninja application have used some server side programming languages, any of the server side programming languages like what you can call Java or Python or PHP. Okay, any of the programming language they have used. Okay, C sharp and so on. Okay, different programming languages are there in the market, guys. So I just gave you 4 examples here. Okay, using any of these programming languages, the developers of this tutorials ninja application have built the code. Okay, have built the code for developing this tutorials in the application using the programming languages like what? Java, Python, PHP, C Sharp, or any other programming language they can use it. Okay, there are many varieties of programming languages. Here the code is written. Whatever the code that is written for developing the building the application is available in the server machine. Okay, in the server machine which is there at the Singapore. So this laptop you can call that as a client for now. Okay, this laptop you can call as a client. From our client machine, that is from our laptop, from using a browser, we access the URL. A request has been sent to the server machine in Singapore. But how this request is traveling? Because I am in Hyderabad, India. Hyderabad, India country, I am there. My laptop is here in Hyderabad, India. But this server machine is in Singapore. But here, when I'm browsing the URL, a request has been sent to the server machine over what? Over internet. Over internet. Okay, using which protocol? Using HTTP. This over internet means protocol will be definitely HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, HTTPS. Okay. So secured applications will be using HTTPS as a protocol, and unsecured applications which doesn't have the security certificates will use HTTP. We'll discuss more about certificates and all later, guys. Okay, it's not the time for it. For it, just understand that over internet means you see here. If I copy paste this URL in another tab, you will see HTTP protocol is there. Okay, via HTTP protocol, this request is being sent. Okay, in this tutorial ninja case, it is HTTP protocol over the internet, guys, over the World Wide Web. The request is being sent to the server machine, and this request will hit a particular section of the code in this entire code written for developing the application, right? But a particular portion of the code it will hit, a request will hit. Only this code will run. Only this code will run. After this code runs, what the server will do? The server will will give a response to back to the laptop, and in the laptop to the browser from which a request arises, right? To the same browser, the server will send back a response. Okay, the server will send a response. This is a response. Okay, so here response also will travel over internet only. Okay, response also will travel over internet, that is HTTP or HTTPS protocol only. But what does the response will contain? Response will contain HTML code. Okay, the server will process the request that is received from the laptop browser of the laptop, and after processing, it will generate some HTML code, JavaScript code, CSS code, and some cookies, etc. will be generated by the server and send them back to the client machine, which is our laptop, to our browser in this HTML, Java, CSS, and cookies. Okay, the response will contain these things. Who will understand this HTML, JavaScript, CSS, cookies, and all those stuff? The browser will understand. The browser is the one who will understand HTML, JavaScript, CSS, cookies, and all those stuff. Okay, and based on the understanding, this application page is getting displayed on the in the browser. Okay, in the browser we are getting this application page because this application page is coming because the browser is interpreting or understanding this HTML, JavaScript code, CSS cookies, which are being sent, processed and sent back to the client machine by the server. Okay. In some cases, what happens is the client will request the server. Server will run the appropriate code based on the request. Server will run the appropriate code in the tutorials in the server application code, and sometimes this code has to interact with the database. Okay, the code has to approach the database where the data of this application is stored. For example, if you are registering an account here, for example, in your laptop, this tutorialsninja.com, for example, if I take you to this application and take you to the register page, here you have to give the details, right? Here you have to give the details. Click on the continue button. You have to give the first name, last name, email, telephone, password confirm, select this privacy policy and click on the continue button, which are all the mandatory fields you filled and clicked on the continue button. The moment you click on the continue button by giving all the details, a request will be sent to the server with all the details that you have entered into this form. Okay, here request will not be blank, guys. Along with the details that you have entered into the form, the request will be sent to the server, and appropriate code regarding that register account functionality will be run in the application server, and the data that is being sent along with the request, this first name, last name data, which is being sent along with the request to the server machine, okay, need to be stored in the database, right? For that reason, this code will invoke the database, will connect with the database, okay, using some SQL queries. Okay, using some SQL queries, we have SQL, right, structured query language. Using that SQL queries, some insert into kind of statements will be created, and the database will be into the database. This query will be triggered, and whatever the data I gave here, entered here, will be stored into the database here. Okay, the data that I entered in my laptop will travel over the internet as a request and hit the appropriate code, and this code will do a SQL query on this database, and in the database the record will be inserted. The new user record, if you provide all the valid details in the appropriate table of this database, the details, that is first name, last name, all these records will be inserted. And if it is successfully inserted, this database will again give a response back to the server machine saying that successfully inserted. Now, after getting the successful inserted message from the database, the server machine, okay, will also process this response from the database and give a proper response back to the laptop, okay, with this HTML, JavaScript, and you will see that you got logged in, and you got account success page in this application. If you got successfully logged in, registered, right, you'll be taken to the account success page where you are automatically logged in. Okay, so this is what happens, guys, in real time. So if you break this diagram into 3 areas, this is one area, this is the second area. Okay, here I will break. This layer of the application, the first layer of the application where user interface of the application is being displayed on the browser. Okay, the first layer of the application where the user interface of this application page is being displayed, right? That layer is called as presentation layer. Okay, that layer is called presentation layer. Okay, where the UI elements, user experience, UI UX are being displayed here. Okay, that is presentation layer, where the real end users like me can interact with the UI elements and create the account, log into the application using the user interface. Okay, this is a UI layer or presentation layer of the application. And here where the application logic is written, and to interact with this application logic, okay, to interact with this application logic, some APIs are created. The request and responses, these are APIs. Okay, this request and response is a APIs. The second layer we have is a business layer. Okay, here application logic is written. This is called as which layer? This is called as, this is a business layer, guys. Okay, second layer is business layer. Okay, this is a business layer. Now, the place where the data is stored into the database, this is called as a database layer. Third layer is database layer. Database layer. Third layer is the first one is presentation layer. Second layer where the application logic is actually written is a business layer, and third layer is the database layer. Okay, these are the 3 layers of the application, guys. Coming to the presentation layer, that is a UI layer where you see all the UI elements like buttons, hyperlinks, images, and all those stuff to interact with the application, right? Text box fields and all to interact with the application. Business layer, the application logic will be written like this. The application logic using any server-side programming language will be written, okay, by the developers of the application. And here APIs are also created here, guys. Okay, APIs to interact with this application. In this business layer, these are the APIs. Request and response are the APIs. Okay, APIs are also provided to interact with the application logic code. Okay, these the APIs are created here in the business layer and provided to you, so that whenever you perform some operations using some UI elements on the presentation layer, it will invoke that API request, and that API request will invoke the application, will run the application code in the server. And that server, if required, it will connect with the database and get the response back from the database and process properly and respond back to the presentation layer, that is UI layer again, so that you can see the changes on the UI. Final layer is the database layer where the application data is stored and accessed from here. Okay, you will not only store, but you will also access. Sometimes you have to get the data from the database. Okay, sometimes you have to store the data into the database, modify the data into the database, delete the data from the database, and many operations will be done on the database. That is a database layer. These are the different layers of the application. Okay, without this understanding, you will not understand APIs. And also, APIs belong to which layer? Business layer. APIs belong to which layer? Business layer. Okay, API belong to business. Now, as you have understood different layers of the application, and you understood like in which layer of the application the APIs are actually created for interacting with the application logic of the application that is built by the developers, that is a business layer, right? So this much knowledge is required for understanding the APIs, guys. Let's move further to understand APIs in detail, guys. Okay, I told you, right, there is no proper definition of APIs. Okay, so let's understand the APIs better in a different formats. Okay, So based on the reasons for developing the APIs, we can understand what exactly are APIs. Okay, why APIs are required? If you understand, automatically you understand what is an API, right? So what are the different reasons why APIs are created? These are the different reasons, guys. Okay, these are the different reasons why the APIs are created in our applications. Why APIs are created in this business layer of the application. These are the several reasons. If you understand each and every reason here, you will ultimately understand what exactly are APIs. Okay, and what is their advantage and use. Okay, fine. First, first reason for developing the APIs by in the projects is the functionality of the software to be used by other software. Okay, there may be some situation where the functionality of one application need to be used by the functionality of another application. Okay, I'll give you an example, guys. Okay, the functionality of one software need to be used by functionality of other software. That's the situation. So here you see, if I take this example, make my trip, you'll understand. I'll take you to makemytrip.com. So here in Make My Trip, guys, you see you can search for flights, hotels, and many things are there. Okay, if you go with only flights, okay, let's focus only on the flights functionality of this Make My Trip. I click on the flights, and if I select some locations here, Hyderabad to Goa, and click on this search button, the moment I click on the search button, guys, what's happening is the flights from Hyderabad to Goa on this particular date are being searched and given here. You see, Indigo related flights are coming here. Did I select any Indigo there? No, right? You see different flights are coming now. Okay. You see Alliance Air, SpiceJet, Indigo, Air Asia. What else is there? These are the flights available. Okay. So if I select a different, maybe I'll just go outside United States or something. Okay. Chicago, United States from Hyderabad. And the date is like, I'll give some like 5th August. Okay. 5th August, I will select and search. Let's see what flights will come now. Okay, let's see what flights will come. Make My Trip is not just displaying one flight company details, but in fact, no flights were found. Sorry. So I have to keep trying. I'm doing any mistake there. Okay. Okay. Two. I'll just select different place. Otherwise, okay. 4, 5. Search. Let's see. You see, different companies are coming this time. So ultimately, Indigo is everywhere. Vistara is there. Vistara is there. Then we have Air India is there. Like different companies are coming, and these are the details. Okay, if you want to travel from Hyderabad to Hubli on Thursday, 4th August in India, right? These are the flight companies coming. But Make My Trip is one of the website, okay, which is displaying different flight companies, not just one flight company, but different flight companies. But is Indigo belong to Make My Trip? No. Is Air flight company belong to Make My Trip? No. Is this one Air India company belong to Make My Trip? No. The flight company is a separate company. Okay. So for example, if you want to search the same thing, Hyderabad to Hubli on Thursday, August, right? 4th, right? Indigo. Okay. You want to go to the website of Indigo and search for that. For example, you just go to the Indigo website. Indigo. Let's go for Indigo. Go in. This is a website of the Indigo, actual website of the Indigo, guys. Okay. So, and I want to travel from which place to which place? Hyderabad to Hubli. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. I'll search for Hyderabad here. Hyderabad to Hubli. Okay. On which dates? August 5th. Add return tip on 6th August and search for the flights. Okay. The same flights which are coming here for Indigo will appear here now. Okay. You see the flights, Indigo flights. Okay. Hyderabad to Hubli. These are the flights. Okay. So from Hyderabad to Hubli, Hubli to Hyderabad. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same details. Okay. Hubli to Hyderabad. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hubli to Hyderabad. 1, 2, 3, 4 should be there. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So Hyderabad to Hubli and Hubli to Hyderabad. Whatever the details that this Indigo flight company is displaying on their own website is also getting displayed on Make My Trip, because because Indigo, uh, not all people will go to Indigo every time to book the flights. To make their job simple, what they will do, they will go to Make My Trip and search for the flights. Whatever the flight company is giving better fare, better time, and all those stuff. Based on that, people will select the flights, right? So Indigo want to be there in the market. So what the Indigo has done is like it has tied up with the Make My Trip. The APIs of Indigo, the function Indigo that is in the form of APIs are shared with the Make My Trip. So Make My Trip is using the APIs of Indigo to display the flight details of Indigo on its website. Not only the APIs of Indigo, Make My Trip is also using the APIs of other flight companies like Vistara and Air India and all and so on. Okay, whatever the flight details that are displaying, the APIs of that flight companies are being used by Make My Trip, and the Indigo company is sharing the APIs of the displaying the flight details to this Make My Trip. This is how the things are happening. This is one of the advantage of reason for developing the APIs. Now, functionality of one software to be used by other software. Functionality of Indigo, which is displaying the flights that are available on a particular date, is being given to the other software like Make My Trip, so that people can find different flight company details at a single place. That is Make My Trip example. Okay, this is not possible without the help of the APIs. Okay, then other example for this functionality of software to be used by other software is Google Authentication, guys. Okay, in Jira, I'll tell you. Not only in Jira, guys, you come across many websites. Apart from the normal sign in, they will allow you to Google Authenticate also. You can use your Gmail address or something to authenticate. Okay, you to log in. Okay, for example, if I take to Jira here, if I type Jira here, okay, let's go Jira. And if I got logged in I'll try to log out, guys. I'll try to log out here. I'll log out. Okay, here my account. And if I try to log in this Atlassian, you see continue with Google is coming. Now, apart from the normal login, they're allowing an option to continue with Google. So you can select any of your account details and then right, login. Okay, with Google Authentication you can log in. How this is possible? How a tool like Jira or this Atlassian Jira is allowing you to log in with Google? Because here this Atlassian Jira company is using the API services of Google for authentication purpose. Google is providing the APIs to be used by Atlassian, and Atlassian is okay with Google authentication. Okay, Google authentication is developed by Google company, right? Google company is sharing the APIs of that Google authentication. If the users doesn't want to create a separate account, if they want to use their Google Gmail address to log in, then this company, Atlassian company, for using Jira or whatever it is, different tools are there. Okay, is allowing the people to log in using Google. That means this is using the APIs of Google authentication. Google authentication APIs are used by this company, and Google company is sharing the APIs of Google authentication to the Atlassian to make this possible. So hope guys you understood one of the reason for developing APIs. Okay, so with this you should understand why APIs. Okay, more than what is an API, simply application programming interface. But why API is very important rather than what is API. Why API is important to understand what exactly is API. Okay, this is one of the reason why APIs are required to be developed. Why developers are developing the APIs? Because functionality of one software to be shared with the other software. Okay, they have to work in collaboration. Different softwares have to work in collaboration and make the things possible. Okay, then reusing the application logic for creating different customized software. This is another reason for developing the APIs, guys. Okay, reusing the application logic for creating different customized software. You are already created the application. Okay, similar kind of application with some advanced features you want to create. Let's say, do you have to write the code from scratch for second application? Already the application is created. An advanced version of the same application having the same code should be created with some by adding some advanced features, some new features, some extra code. For that, do you have to write the application code from scratch? No, right? You can reuse the same application logic for building the next level application, right? So one of the example I'll give you is Visual Studio, guys. If you go to Visual Studio here, Visual Studio. If I search for Visual Studio, then I'll get the link for Visual Studio, guys. I'll take you to the Visual Studio website. And here there is a link like downloads. Click on the downloads, guys. You see, Visual Studio is available in Community Edition, Professional Edition, and Enterprise Edition. Community Edition is free, guys. Community Edition is free for everyone. You don't have to pay any license amount. Okay, the basic features of the Visual Studio that are generally needed by general users of people who are not working in real companies. Okay, they want to practice something or use Visual Studio, right? Just to get started with use, they can use this Community Edition. We can use Visual Studio, guys, okay, without a problem until we work for a company and where business is related, right? Till then we can use Community Edition. This is more than enough for us. Okay, we don't have to go so deep. Okay, most of the features are available, so most of the people use free version, that is Community Edition. But now if you want to get more advantages, okay, if you want to make your usage of Visual Studio more better or more advanced features, if you want, which will save a lot of time for you, or generate some reports that can be used for business purpose, or whatever that advantages are, some along with this community features, some extra features will be provided in the professional. Okay, but professional is not free, it is a trial one. Okay, people, if they have to use professional, they have to purchase a trial, then only they can go with the professional edition. Clear? So, but here already community edition is already developed by the application developers. Let's say, do they have to again create this professional edition from scratch? 70%, or let's say 70 to 80% of the features are same as community edition. Do you have to rewrite the code for that 70 to 80% of the application features? No. Simply, they will create APIs for this application code of the community edition and use them here. And for that remaining 20%, they will write the code. That's what is the thing. If you go for enterprise, again, more than professional, more advanced features will be available. If there are some people who exactly need this UC scalable end to end, a lot of things, advantages are there. If they want to get this kind of advantages, okay, so they have to you see, they don't have to build the application logic from scratch. Okay, so the application logic of the professional along with some extra, the 10% whatever that is there in the enterprise, need to be developed. Okay, APIs for this professional plus the 10 or 15% that is extra additional functionality code to be developed will be done. Okay, the code will be only written for 10 to 15% that is required to make the professional as an enterprise. Remaining 80 to 85%, right? The APIs of the professional edition will be used in the enterprise edition. This is how the using. Okay, this is how the application logic will be reused for creating different customized software. So similar type of softwares with different benefits, if you want to create in real world, again, APIs need to be created. You don't have to rewrite the code from scratch. You don't have to rewrite the code from scratch, guys. You have to simply create the APIs for the existing logic and use that APIs to build different applications. Okay, different customized applications. Another reason for developing the APIs, reusing the application logic for different platforms. Different platforms means, for example, there is an application. Let's say there is an application. Okay, let's say there is an application which has a which is a web application, guys. Okay, which is a web application. Platform is web application. Okay, application is already available for the web application, but now the company behind this web application wants the same application to be available as a mobile application. For example, Facebook.com is there. Initially Facebook.com was there. Okay, once mobile era started, like a lot of people started using mobile phones and using their applications over the mobile phones, then what Facebook.com has thought of, they thought of going with the mobile application. For that, for developing the mobile application, do they have to write the code from scratch? No. What they will do is, application logic is already written for the web application, how the application should work, how the functionalities should work, how the post should be created, how the image should be uploaded, how to like, how to comment, how to share. All the application logic is already created for the Facebook.com web application here. Why they have to recreate the application code? Simply what the developers will do is, developers will create the APIs for this web application code, okay, to interact with this interface with this, or to get interacted with the application code, web application code. They'll create an interface known as APIs, and these APIs are reused while developing the mobile application, and with less time mobile application can be developed. Okay, that's why within less time the mobile application can be developed by reusing the APIs of the web application code. Clear? That is another one. Okay, reusing the application logic for different platforms. Okay, the same application has to be there in different platforms also. Already the logic is written for the one platform, so that logic, for that logic APIs will be created and will be reused in other platforms. Okay, so the development of other platform applications will be very easy for us. Okay, next one is client server communication. Next one is a client server communication. Okay, what is the next reason for developing the APIs? These are few reasons, guys. Functionality of software to be used by other software is one reason. Reusing the application logic for creating different customized softwares like Visual Studio and Community Professional and Enterprise editions is another usage. Reusing the application, same application but on different platforms like mobile and all. Then client server communication, guys. Okay. Next reason for developing the APIs is client server communication. Uh, Client server communication means Facebook. You can say facebook.com. This is facebook.com, guys. Okay, let's say facebook.com. Facebook.com uses web services, guys. Okay, so web server, I'll tell you, these are web services are nothing but APIs only. Okay, web services. What is a web service actually? Web service is a piece of software available and accessible over the web. For example, if you see this diagram, okay, when I say facebook.com or tutorialsninja.com, a request will be sent to the server, and this request will hit the web service here. The code, the piece of the code that has to run when you browse this URL here, right? That is called as a web service, which is available over the web. But how to access this? How to run this web service, which is having that application logic code for sending this HTML, JavaScript, CSS cookies related to displaying of that application homepage. Okay, you understood, right? So over the request, this will happen, guys. Okay, API. This request is nothing but the API here. Okay, this API, what API is doing here? API is accessing the piece of the code, okay, piece of the software code, which is nothing but a web service over the web, that is over the internet. Okay, here this piece of code which is running because of this request, we are calling that as a web service. So what is a web service? Web service is nothing but a piece of software code which is available and accessible over the web. Okay, is this web service accessible over the web? Yes, because when I hit the URL here, a request is being sent or traveled over the web, that is internet. Internet is nothing but web using HTTP or HTTP protocol, and that web services is accessible. Okay, that web service is accessible and run. Okay, the after accessing it will run. Okay, available over the web. Protocols like different protocols like HTTP and HTTPS are used by this web service, guys, so to get this accessible. Okay, so client server communication. Okay, here our laptop is a client and this is a server, and this web service is available over the web and is accessible over the internet. Okay, via this request, API request which is traveling over the internet, this web service is accessible. Okay, that's what is a web service. Okay, API example. Okay, so I'll give you different examples now for API for this client server communication to happen. First example is, you see, this is the fourth reason, guys, for developing the APIs for client server communication. Basically, like for web applications or whatever. Okay, most of the client server communications will be for web applications. For example, guys, Tutorials Ninja web application is there. Okay, here we have Tutorials Ninja. If I am browsing this application, immediately when I'm browsing the application, what's happening? I'm getting a home page with a lot of images, a lot of options, right? Header options, footer options, the search options, this scrolling images, this product images I'm getting. Okay, this data is this HTML, CSS, JavaScript for displaying this page is coming from the server, guys. Okay, so when you are browsing a web page, a request will be sent to the server. Okay, okay, a request will be sent to the server, and server from the server will get this response. Okay, from the server will get the response. Okay, then next one, Tutorials Ninja login. If you try to log in, what will happen? Let's see. Okay, if you give valid email address and valid password here, what's happening? The moment I click on the login button here from my laptop, this UI is available in my laptop, right? In the login page, if I'm giving email address and password, valid email address and valid password, which are existing email address, okay, and click on the login button. The moment I click on the login button, a request will be sent to the server, and appropriate web service related to the login functionality will be triggered, will be executed. But how the request is traveling over the internet, that is over the web. Okay, this web service is accessible over the web. Okay, and also this request is also, along with the request, this email address and password also are being sent. Okay, here it's not a like while browsing the URL, only request was there. But when you are trying to log in, these details, along with these details, the request is being sent over the internet, over this HTTP or HTTPS protocol. Okay, the username and password are being sent to this server, and the appropriate web service related to the login is being hit, where that login web service will collect this email address and password from this request and process it. As part of processing, this web service will do a SQL query on this database. Select star from users, where email address is equal to username is equal to email address and password is equal to password. Like that, a query will be triggered on the database. And when the query is triggered on the database, if really the data is available in the database for that particular query, a proper response will come back from the database to the server, to this particular web service. Okay, to this web service of the server. And server, if it is there, positive response will come from the database. A record will come from the database saying that this particular user exists in our database, and web service will accordingly process the request and send back a appropriate response saying that some token or something will be given to this application so that the user can log in. You see, the moment I click on that, I got logged in. Okay, this is how it happens in the background, guys. Okay, for this client server communication, these are the examples, guys. Okay, these are the API examples for client server communication to be possible for browsing web page, for login, for register. For example, if you talk about register, okay, I'll log out and go to the register page, and how it works. Let's see. I already explained about register anyhow. In the register, I'll enter the username. I'll enter the first name, last name. I'll enter some email address. I'll give some email address like today's date. I'll give 30/07/2022. I'll give, and telephone number. I'll give password. Confirm password, same password I'll give, and privacy policy, and click on the continue button. The moment I click on the continue button, what's happening? The data, that is first name, last name, whatever the data I gave in the register account page, will be sent along with this request, okay, to the server machine, and appropriate web service for registering an account will be triggered, and the code will run. The application code related to the registering account will be run, and the data will be utilized, and SQL query will be done on the database, where a new record will be inserted into the database. Okay, it's not an existing record. With whatever the details I provided, right, a new record will be entered into the database, and after the new record got inserted, a positive response will come from the database, and web service of that registering account will create a positive response here back to the client browser, and the account will be created. You see, your account has been, you will be taken to the account success page like that. Okay, if you try to create a duplicate account, let's say already existing email address is there, you are trying to use the same email address, then when the web service is trying to insert a new record, the database will give a error message saying that this account already exists and it will not allow you to create an account. A negative response will come, and you will be saying that duplicate account cannot be created. Message will be coming instead of creating the account. Okay, like that things will happen internally, guys. Okay, like that things will happen internally. And next example for this client server communication API is Amazon. Okay, let's go to Amazon, guys. Okay, let's go to Amazon. I'll show you how to see the API, different APIs of Amazon. Like how many APIs are required. You'll be surprised to see this many APIs exist or not. Okay, go to Amazon.com or something. Okay, right click inspect. Right click inspect, guys. Go to the network tab. Go to the network tab, and if anything is there, just clear it out. Okay, you see, even though I'm clearing it out, some APIs are being called. Okay, I'm clearing, but some APIs are being called. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry about that. Start typing something. For example, HP. Okay, HP INK 63, like that. When I'm searching for this, okay, for each and everything, for each, and you see for HP, okay, for HP it is searching. What is the next one? For HP Inc it is searching. For HP Inc some 63 or something it is searching. Okay, for everything, for 63, you see 63 for HP Inc, for whatever the letter you type here, an API call is being made to the server. Okay, and this, because why API calls are being made to the server? Without that API calls, we will not get these suggestions. Okay, when you are searching here, for each and every word you type here, for A you type here, you see some suggestion API is going on with that A keyword, and this list is coming from the server. The server is giving this list for you. Okay, a request is being sent to the server with this A, and server is checking with the database with this A keyword and retrieving all the names that need to be displayed for the user to select. Amazon gift card, AirPods, and all these things are coming. Okay, clear? So this is Amazon. Okay, so APIs plays a very vital role, guys. Okay, for each and every action, very simple action also APIs will be there. Okay, in the applications. Okay, so this is a client server communication. That is the purpose of. This is one of the reasons why APIs are developed. Okay, so nowadays the applications are very versatile. Like okay, like for each and every action there is an API, so that you just need to work on that API code. Okay, that web service code you have to work and modify. Okay, without impacting the other features and all. We'll talk about that later anyhow. So there are different type of architectures and all. I'll talk about that later. Okay, in APIs. Okay, fine. So what is the difference between this API and web service? You already know what is a web service, right? Over the internet, if that API is accessible, if that web service, if that application code is accessible over the internet, that is called as web service. But what is an API? Web service is also an API. Web service is also an API, guys. Here you see, what is a web service? Exposes the functionality of an application using API over web, like this. Here, this functionality of the application is exposed to our laptop via web. Via web, we can access this web service. That type of API is called as web service. Okay. So web service is also an API, guys, but which is accessible over the web. Okay, but it is accessible over the web. That's why we say that all web services are APIs. You can call web services as API, guys. Okay, all these are web services only. Tutorial Ninja, browsing web page, login, register. These are all the APIs. This request and responses are happening over where? Over the web only, over the internet. HTTP, HTTPS protocol. This request and responses are happening. This request and response are nothing but the APIs which are interacting with these web services and getting the things done. But the web services are available over the web. That's why the name came to them as web services. Okay, these APIs are called as web services because these services are available over the web. Okay, these services are available over the web. They are called as web services, but not okay. But not all APIs are web services. You can say that all web services are APIs. Here, if these APIs which are making the things possible over the internet, right, to get the things done, are all these APIs are called as, all the web service APIs are called as APIs. They're APIs ultimately, but all APIs are not web services. Why? Why all not APIs are not web services? I'll give you some examples. For example, if you go to Chrome add-on, okay, if there is a browser here, let's go to a browser here, and here I have different add-ons I have installed. I can install different add-ons if I want. Okay, I'll uninstall something. Remove from Chrome. Remove. This is Go full page. I'll try to install one extension, guys. Okay, so I'll remove all this stuff, guys. Okay, I'll remove all this stuff. Let's see, no extensions are available. This doesn't come by default, guys. Okay, all this extension didn't come by default. Okay, there is one more. Let me remove this one also. All these extensions, when you install Chrome browser, guys, by default you will not get all these extensions. Okay, these are additional things that you have installed on the top of the default Chrome browser. Okay, this one also I'll uninstall. Okay, now as you can see here, guys, as you can see here, the Chrome browser doesn't have any add-ons or extensions. Okay, it doesn't have any add-ons or extensions by default. The Chrome browser will not have any extensions added, but I want to add Go full page Chrome extension. Okay, if I search like this in Google, and I'll be taken to the Chrome extension page for Go full page screenshot. Let's see whether I'm taken to the proper page or not. Yeah, this is the one. Add to Chrome. I'm adding. Now where this software is, Go full page is a separate software, and it's getting added where? Into my Chrome browser, right? In a while it will be added. You see it got added. I can pin it. Okay. If I want to take the full screenshot of the full page, this full page screenshot will be taken, guys. Okay. You see I can download this screenshot now. Okay. Yeah. You see whatever the screenshot I have taken, that has been downloaded. show in folder where it got downloaded. Let's see. This is a screenshot that has been taken just now, guys. Okay, the full page screenshot has been taken here. Okay, this page for which the screenshot has been taken. Okay, this is the page for which the screenshot has been taken and displayed. Fine. Now, if you see here how this browser is using the functionality of this Chrome extension known as Go Full Page via APIs. APIs of this Go Full Page, okay, this Go Full Page Chrome extension is providing the APIs of it to this Chrome browser so that Chrome browser is able to access its services. But here, is the communication happening over internet? Is the Chrome browser communicating to this Go Full Page screenshot Chrome extension over internet? No, it's there in the software itself. It got integrated with the software itself. Okay, the communication is happening directly, not via internet. Okay, the browser is communicating in your computer only, your laptop only, not over internet, because this extension is not there in Singapore, right? Okay, the application code of this is now integrated with this Chrome browser code. Now they are communicating directly using APIs. So all APIs are web services now. Does all APIs have to travel, have to send requests over web? Request and get the response over the internet or web? Not required. Here, the Chrome browser is directly communicating with this extension. Internet is not required. So these are not web services. That's why all APIs are not web services, but all web services are APIs. Okay, web services are nothing but APIs. Request and response over the internet are APIs only. But here all APIs are not web services. Okay, one example is Chrome extension, Chrome extensions or different softwares that coexist. Okay, there's another example, guys. I'll take you to this particular link where you will see how the different softwares can integrate together. Okay, for them, internet is not required to send requests and responses. Okay, for example, here, guys, if I scroll down, if I install this Workshare Professional kind of software, is one of the software, guys. Okay, which will get integrated with the Word documents and Excel documents and so on. After installing this Workshare Professional software, what happens is the moment you open your Word document, you'll get an extra option here. This Workshare option will not be there in the default Microsoft Word document. If you have installed MS Office in your machine, you will not get Workshare option. But the people who want to use these Workshare options along with this Microsoft Word, right? What they will do after installing Microsoft Word, they will install this Workshare Professional software like this. Okay, they'll install this Workshare Professional software like this. Next, and install. And after that, they'll reopen the Word document and they will see this extra menu, Workshare menu, where a lot of other additional options are available. Okay, Workshare options are available. Now, how this Microsoft Word is communicating this with this Workshare functionality? Here, Workshare APIs are given to the Microsoft Word and they're interacting. Okay. So for the Microsoft Word to select this, to operate these options or use these options, does the request and responses for these options need to be sent over internet? No, it's part of the same software now. No internet is required. Okay. So again, the same thing, guys. Here, all APIs are not web services. All APIs will not have request and responses which go over the internet, like facebook.com and all, tutorialsninja.com. All these web applications generally request and responses will happen over the internet, and we can call them as APIs or web services. Okay, because web services are also APIs. But coming to these Chrome extensions or different softwares that different desktop softwares that coexist, right? They don't need internet as a transportation. Okay, the request and responses doesn't have to travel over the internet. So they communicate directly, guys. Okay, so using the APIs locally, they will communicate. So these local APIs are not web services. Hence we call them as normal APIs. They are not web services. Okay, we should not be calling this kind of Chrome extension with the Chrome browser and the Chrome add-on provided APIs to the Chrome browser and the Workshare Professional APIs provided to the Microsoft Word. We should not be calling them as web services because here request and response are not happening over traveling over internet. Instead, they are traveling locally between the softwares, and that's why we have to say all APIs are not web services. That's why we have to say all APIs are not web services, but all web services are APIs. So with this, guys, you should be able to understand what exactly is API. Now tell me, guys, is there any single line can I explain API? What API is? No. We have to understand all these reasons, guys. Different reasons for developing the APIs we have to understand, and also the difference between API and web service also you have to understand. Okay, then only you will understand what is API. Okay, so there is no simple definition for API, guys. So this understanding or knowledge is required for understanding what is API. So in the next session, we'll go for API testing, guys. Once you understood API, right? As you already understood API, now I'll talk about API testing in the next session. Okay. Till then, see you. Bye bye, guys. Okay.